Anyway, so if we're at 60 right now, guys. What's 60 minus 90? Negative 30. What's negative 30 on a circle? Let's see. We'll just go 30 from here. That'd be 330, right? No. Oh my God, I'm so bad at this. So if 0 is 360, so we're gonna go to 330, which is right. Well, past it. Come on, you. Okay, so we're at 330 now. So I'm gonna try to thrust here, and I've actually gotten it right this time for the most part. The apoapsis isn't moving nearly as much as it was before, and my inclination is shifting a lot faster. Oh, never mind, I'm messing it up. Another thing is, while you're shifting your inclination, your prograde will move, just because of where you are relative to the planet's orbit and all that kind of stuff. So this is good enough. I don't want to waste any more fuel increasing my apogee when I want to land. I could just flip around this side and land here, but I don't want to land on the dark side of the moon because it's creepy. It's hard to do because it's dark. So, oh dang it. Come on, turn around. Landing on the dark side of the moon is probably the thing I did the first 6 or 7 times because I had no idea how to properly, I guess, designate a landing spot. So we're gonna retrograde and burn down here. Actually, we might be in a good spot to retrograde a landing right now. So we're gonna try this. There we go. So we're not anywhere near my mark because I'm terrible at inclination changes without MechJeb, because this is what happens. I rely on MechJeb too much, so when I don't use it, I fail. So let's see. If we're at 232, 230, and what's 232 and 90? I'm really bad at addition. Okay. What's 230 and 90? Ah, stop, damn it. Oh, I'm gonna go with 310. You're probably yelling at your screen right now. Why are you so bad at math? Why are you playing KSP when you're bad at math? Well, that's the thing. You don't need to be good at math to play KSP, but the bad thing is I'm going to be a physicist, so I kind of need to get better at this. See, this isn't doing exactly what I want, because I'm really terrible at finding our normal and anti-normal. I'm just going to go ahead and put it on the north here, because assuming it's north relative. Well, no, it's not, because this thing isn't dynamic. So I'm just an idiot. There is a point where your apogee will not move much when you're on your proper normal and anti-normal. I'm near it. I can tell that much. I'm pretty close to it. So we're just gonna do this. That's a good spot. That's good enough. MechJeb comes with a landing module that will let you land on a pre-selected landing site by clicking on the map, which doesn't work right now because of the new planetary structure of the new planets. Why can I see Lathe from here? Whoa, who's that? Landed on Ike. Oh, okay, I didn't even realize that I had somebody landed on Ike. So, it can also straight up land, which is also broken in the beta version. Don't use that, it won't work. It will just land you wherever you hit the land button. It'll start its landing process, and you'll be fine. So we still got a ton of fuel left on this thing. So in preparation, I'm gonna turn to our retrograde. Even though I'll probably be rotated out of it, but I don't care. This is very confusing. No! Stop that! Why do you do this to me? I've been RCSing this whole time, and we still got a ton of fuel left. This tank is amazing. It's pretty heavy, I think, but it's definitely worth it if you can generate the delta V to get it up there. Oh, man, this thing is so heavy. It just spins itself around in circles forever. What I was explaining earlier, actually, when we were still in orbit of Kerbin, when we were in the atmosphere, is that very long spacecraft are extremely hard to control, especially with no RCS. They may be impossible to control or rotate, unless you flare the thrust up a little bit, and then you have a little bit of gimbaling on the engines, which changes your direction. I'm just going to turn those fuel tanks out, because that was bugging me. So I'm gonna use some of the fuel in this thing to assist our landing procedure. You can see here it's lagging a bit because we're coming in on high resolution textures at a pretty quick rate. And slow down a little bit, make that stop. So we're at 35 kilometers now. You can see the moon is starting to take shape, a little better shape than it was before, because we're getting closer and you can see the textures more clearly. I like to stop orbiting pretty frequently, just to realign myself. I'm still trying to figure out what this is. In the old versions, it would guide you to the KSP landing strip in a plane. These new tutorials included in this version say that it's a waypoint, and I'm trying to figure out how to set these waypoints. So if anybody knows that, please tell me and us, so we can discuss it in further videos. I'll probably will be making some videos on space planes in the future. So let's crank some info out. Help everybody. In this version, this thing just points directly towards the ground all the time while I'm. What is that targeting? It's moving pretty rapidly. You can see it was right here and now it's down here. I'm really not sure what. Look at it, it's still going. I'm trying to figure out what it's chosen as a waypoint and why it wants me to thrust that way to get there. That's really interesting. And it's probably, I'm gonna guess it's not on Kerbin since I'm pointed at retrograde and it's pretty close to retro. So it's somewhere on the moon. It must have been somewhere I clicked. Maybe it's the center of the moon itself. I'm not sure. Anyway, you can see we're not going incredibly fast. I mean, this is pretty fast. We're going 542 meters per second. We're actually gaining speed, which is bad. But once we get down to a certain point, I believe we'll stop gaining speed. I'm gonna do this. Oh, that actually doesn't cancel out the speed gain. So I'm gonna come down to about 15,000 feet. Right here, actually, this is something you can do if you have the fuel and skill to do it. You can cancel out all of your horizontal velocity and just drop straight down to the moon. It takes a little bit of extra fuel. You can see my orbit closing pretty rapidly here. I'm not going to be landing over here now. You can see our orbit is closing pretty rapidly, and we're going pretty slow. Now that our retrograde is coming up here, this is pretty much a straight up and down orbit. This is about as close as you can get. You can see the retrograde drifting to the center of the nav ball. It started to slide down because I actually started to go up instead of letting it go down. So I'm gonna put little bursts. You can try this. I don't know if it'll work for you, depending on your craft and your amount of skill. It doesn't really take skill. This is actually the first time I've done a horizontal speed kill. I've just never done it before because it does take a lot of fuel. So you can see now we're basically going straight down, and I'm going to ditch these and this. A lot of empty stages for some reason, and I'm gonna thrust a little bit to get that out from underneath me. That's gonna collide into the surface and explode. That's how we jettison our parts on KSP. We don't parachute them. We don't drop them into the ocean. Well, sometimes we do, but we usually just have them explode or float off into space and be space garbage. See, now I don't have an SAS unit. It's using SAS from the command pod, which is very, very weak. Doesn't really do much, so this thing kind of tosses itself around. We also don't have RCS. But it's better to have the SA on with these, because if you don't turn it on, they will drift indefinitely. They're very hard to control. I'm going to turn on precision mode here, which is caps lock by default, just to keep myself from wobbling around too much when I press the button. I'm going to time warp, so we're still at 10,000. About 5 kilometers or so. I'm just going to start the slow right here, because this is a pretty weak engine. You can see, though, we're being slowed pretty quick, because there's very little gravity here. Your specific impulse in space is a pretty big deal. Your engines will affect you a lot more in space. Let's see if I can pull this off. I actually haven't done a manual landing for a while. You can see in that last video that I'm not very good at it. In the cockpit of your command module, there is a little... too slow. There's a little thing. I want to show you it, but I'm scared that I'll blow myself up. There's an altimeter called the radar altimeter, which is a very, very nice and very, very welcome addition to the new version. What it does is, in contrast to the default altimeter, the default altimeter shows you your altitude relative to sea level. That doesn't necessarily mean that you are 5 kilometers off the surface, because there's mountains, there's hills, there's craters. As you can see here, we're almost on the ground, and we're still at 1.8 kilometers. Ooh, see, I slowed down there too much. Uh-oh, I'm tipping. Tipping. Oop, got it. There we go. We're landed. And I didn't bring a ladder. But that's okay, because we have jetpacks. So, as you come in for the landing, you want to keep your speed down, way down. See, we're still at 1800 right here. Here it is, down here. Radar altitude. This will activate, basically, at 3,000 meters or 3 kilometers, and it scales down pretty quickly. When you hit 500, it goes into 100, so you can read it more accurately. This is radar altitude, obviously. This shows you exactly how far away the ground underneath you is. I wish it was a number, because once this reaches this area right here, it becomes a little bit harder to read. Obviously, and you're also off to the side of it, so it's a little harder to read. That's this thing right here. This is the gear stage, and I can't wait until this is active, because that's cool. When you put the gear in and out, it flashes a little bit. But yeah, that gets really hard to read. Since you're off to the side of it, it doesn't even look like it's on 0. It looks like it's on 1. Well, actually, that's probably accurate. It is probably on 1, since we are a few meters off the ground. Anyway, when you're coming in for your landing, depending on where you are, you want to slow yourself so you don't smash into the planet. A safe speed is in between about 0.1, I guess, is the minimum. And 10 meters per second is pretty safe most of the time. 10 may break parts off your craft, but they probably won't explode. I came in, and as you could see there at that last moment, I slowed down too much and started to go up. So my retrograde liner flipped to the bottom of the nav ball, which it will do. So be aware of that when you're operating your landing gear with MechJeb. If you lock onto retrograde, what is that? Oh, that's part of my ship. Neat. If you lock onto retrograde when you're coming into a landing, when it flips over, your ship will flip over with it. So you have to be really wary of that. It won't do that with the normal... How did these get like this? This is really strange. I never even put that... What? What is this? This is silly. How is it in the ground? This is the coolest thing ever. It's like perfect. That's really weird. What happened to the rest of it? Oh, I wonder if the rest of it's underneath the ground. Anyway. Oh god, I get distracted easily. I have ADHD. Oh, look at that. Huh. The rest of it's gone, and that's just there. Anyway, yeah, that retrograde will guide your ship into the floor if you're not careful. So, if you're using the normal lander, which will be fixed eventually, I'm sure. The mod developers for that mod are pretty active and do update it pretty quickly. They've already got a beta version out for 1.7. That works for the most part. The landers don't, though. But yeah, if you're using the lander, the actual landing module on the mech jeb, it won't do that. It'll land you pretty perfectly. Almost every time. Can I sprint? No, I can't sprint on the moon. I forgot about that. Anyway, press R to activate your jetpack. Standard, like first-person shooter WAS controls. You can press Alt. At least it used to be able to. Also, Shift and Control put you up and down, respectively. I guess it doesn't work anymore, but the left Alt button used to change your view mode so he wouldn't strafe like this, so his back wasn't always to the camera. He would actually turn. I guess it doesn't work anymore. So now we're on the moon. You know what? I should have landed with that stage. It would have been a nice escape stage, and we could go home. I've actually never. I've always been too lazy to make return stages. If I had a nuclear engine on this, it actually might be able to return. We also don't have a parachute. If you want to make a return stage, you always want to have a parachute, otherwise you'll die, obviously. Returning from the moon is usually pretty easy. I'm just going to lift off here. If you have enough fuel to circularize, it's generally pretty simple. When I get up to about, I don't know. The farther out your orbit is, the easier it is to. Well, not here actually. That's not true. I'm gonna go to 16K, just because. So we've been here, and now we're leaving. I don't know if we actually have enough fuel to leave because I don't do this very often at all. I think I've done one return from the moon, and this is what happens. I went right by it, and now I have to spend valuable fuel to get myself going back up, which isn't good. So what are we going to now? Going to 17. I've done one return in the past. I don't know if we're going the right way here, but it doesn't matter to me. I've done one return in the past. I came here and tried to rescue 3 Kerbals that were stranded. It didn't wind up very well. Jeb got in the pod and it flew off and all blew up and everybody died. And then I sent another stage, or another vessel, to do the same thing, and it actually returned with 2 of the Kerbonauts, which was good. Circularization around the moon's pretty easy. In most cases, I don't think I actually have enough fuel to pull it off. I think I definitely don't have enough fuel to get back. Return stages are usually pretty small, since they don't require tons of fuel, but they require more fuel than you probably actually have. Another thing about returning is getting an inclination. I'm not 100% sure how to do this. Maybe I should have learned this before I started a basic orbital mechanics tutorial. Getting from the moon to Kerbin, a little different from getting from Kerbin to the moon. You might be able to just go to your opposite axis here and toss your prograde out. Let's try. Now I'm learning with you guys. This is where the fun comes in, because this is where I make mistakes and get angry, and then you laugh at me. And this is where the entertainment and education comes. Yeah, I'll see here. Okay, yeah. I should have thought about that one. Gravitational pull from Kerbin's pretty strong. When you break moon orbit at escape velocity, which is pretty close to where I am right now, somewhere I don't know exactly what it is, but you will go into orbit around Kerbin. There's probably an optimal place to prograde from to get this orbit as short as possible, but I'm not sure what that is because I'm an idiot. I didn't research it. You can tell that's getting pretty close to not letting me out. Now, I have very little fuel left. Very little. This is definitely not enough fuel to get back to the planet. It's enough fuel to get into orbit of the planet, but I'm not going to be seeing home anytime soon. If you're really good, you can send a pod out, rescue these guys. Oh, what is that? I'm having another moon encounter. I I think? Whoa, whoa. What's going on? Oh man. I'm so glad I'm recording this, because this is really, really strange. I might actually be able to slingshot off the moon. Or something. What is going on? What? What is this? Oh my! Oh, George Takei, I need you now more than ever. Oh my. Alright, I have no idea what I've done. If you guys are confounded right now, you're in the same place as me. We are not getting home. Kerbin, we have a problem. Oh, see, this is a bad place to be in. Well, that looks like it's as short as an orbit as I'm going to get. That was really, really weird. I've never had that happen before. I can't believe I slung myself back into orbit around the moon. I should have thought about that when it's probably going to happen again, actually, if I go around far enough. Let's go find out. That might be fun. Actually, no, I don't think it will. No, it definitely won't. That apoapsis is way too far out. So, what? You know, if I don't know, if we burn enough, I might cheat a little and just see if this works. But oh no, we're not on the correct course for that. But I'm gonna try it anyway. So since this video is how-to as well as an educational video about the game mechanics in general, I'm gonna share with y'all a little secret. I strongly urge against doing this unless it's purely for hilarity or testing purposes. But hold Control, Shift, Alt, and press D, and you get this debug toolbar that comes up, and you can see exactly what this is going to give us. We got infinite EVA fuel, RCS, infinite normal fuel, no crash damage doesn't work. Unbreakable joints also doesn't work. I'm not sure what that one does. That's really a lot of part clipping in editors. Ooh, that's a new one. So I'm going to turn on infinite fuel. Like I said, I really strongly go against doing this if you're trying to get a legitimate landing going on. But if you're just going to have fun with it, like we are here. What was that? Did you see that? If you're just going to have fun with it, it's okay. You know, do whatever you need. If you want to use it to get somewhere just to see what it looks like, I've done that before. What? Are you kidding me? Oh my. George, where are you? I need you now. Look at this. Oh, there it is. There it is. What? Oh, no way. I'm gonna skip this min-miss crap, since it's a little bit advanced for right now. Whee! There's min-miss. I could probably have seen it from the map view or from the normal view. So I think what's going to happen right now is we're going to have another encounter with the moon. Like I said, we weren't going to. Shows how much I know, huh? See, these lines get really weird. These conic patch lines, really strange. Very, very inaccurate. Look at this. This is beautiful, right here. We're coming in for another orbit around the moon, and it's going to toss us back into a close orbit around Kerbal. Look at this. 5 million. 5,000 kilometers. That's incredible. Purely by luck. Now, I know I don't have enough fuel to make it, so what I'm going to do is I pause to bring this up because it does use the shift button, and that will turn on your thrusters, and that's bad. If you want infinite fuel, chances are you're low. So I'm going to turn that off, actually. Oops, oh, what have I... Stop that. I accidentally just alt-tabbed out of the game because I pressed Control-Shift-Escape by accident. Whoops. Hopefully that didn't break anything in the recording. We still got fuel. See, it actually helped a little bit. So what I was going to do is retrograde my orbit until I was very low on fuel, and then just turn on infinite fuel and get us home. Just because, you know, just for educational purposes, you know. Right, educational. Not because I'm bad at the game, nothing like that. I'm a good space program Kerbal guy. So, ooh, that's very low. Keep an eye on this. If you right-click your fuel tanks, you'll see exactly how much fuel you have. So I'm gonna waste this down to about 0.1. This thing's actually got a pretty nice fuel consumption rate. And you can see it, the flow rate right there. It changes with how much thrust you're applying. That's pretty cool. And now that we're extremely low on fuel, and let's see, where are we? Wow, that's pretty close. That almost got us in. That's 100, or that's is that 1,000 kilometers or is that 100,000 kilometers? No, 100,000 kilometers. Okay, that's 1,000 kilometers. 1 million meters. I'm really bad at this stuff, which is bad because, you know, physics. Anyway, pause so that doesn't happen again. Exactly what I was explaining happened. You would hit the shift button and it'll waste your fuel off. So, did I actually turn that on? Yeah, I turned it on. So we're just going to keep retrograding until we, I mean, now that we have infinite fuel, we can circularize this, but we're gonna pretend like we don't have infinite fuel, even though we obviously do, and just get this orbit into the planet. Just because circularizing would take even more fuel. So, actually, I'm going to teach you another orbital mechanic. It's called aerobraking. I've only tried it once before, and it didn't do exactly what I wanted it to. But it's really good if you're low on fuel. Basically, you take your perigee into the planet's atmosphere. And I'm not sure how far in you should go for this to actually take effect, but what it'll do, it'll slow you down very far, and it can affect your apogee pretty intensely. If you go too far down, you will just collide with the planet. And it'll happen. Oh, another thing is at your midpoint on your orbit, is you can go normal and anti-normal here and change your inclination on this axis rather than this axis. So there's that. You can do that at any point in your orbit, but it will be more effective at certain points. And it will change your inclination in certain ways. Okay, so we're obviously in the atmosphere right now because we got shifted down to 1x. This thing definitely does not have enough thrust to land us on the planet. I just thought about that. It might. Oh wait, no, it does, because we did it the other night. I don't know about going the speed though. We're actually pretty close to. I think about 500 meters a second faster. We would be at Kerbal escape velocity, which would launch us outside of Kerbal into the orbit of the sun. Okay, you can see this aerobraking is taking effect already. I'm only 45 kilometers down, and you can see the apogee shrinking fairly rapidly. This is good for circularizing if you're low on fuel, because it's basically... Ooh, this might not end very well, actually. It's basically a free orbit change. Oh, by the way, forgot to mention it, the orbit maneuver we pulled off earlier to actually get to the moon, it's called a Hohmann transfer, after that scientist that I mentioned earlier. Yeah, this is not going to end well. I've put the aero brake too far down in. This is shrinking very, very, very quickly. Oh, we're coming. Yeah, this is bad. As you can see, we've gone far, far into the planet, too far into the planet's atmosphere for that aerobrake to actually be effective. I think I should have gone down to like 40 kilometers instead of 25. That was a really bad idea. You can see this planet's atmosphere is pretty thick. And relativity to space, the atmosphere is thick relative to space. The gravitational pull is also very strong. If you go too far into the atmosphere, you will slow down a lot. It does kill a lot of your speed. That's why it's called aerobraking. Right now we're on our way to lithobraking, which is another word for crashing into the ground. It slows you down. There's actually a term for that. Since we have infinite fuel, we can land, but be careful with that aerobrake if you try it yourself. Obviously, it doesn't always work. There is a sweet spot. It also depends on your apogee orbit. If we were out at like 11 million apogee, actually I don't think that would have even changed it. You can see now we've killed all of our vertical speed, and that right there actually wouldn't have used that much fuel. That's perfectly viable. If you have a decent return stage, you don't always need parachutes. If your return stage is large, like if it was bigger than this one thruster wouldn't cut it. This would not be enough thrust to land something that's very heavy. Also, since it's basically on its dry mass, since it has 0.1 liters of fuel left, we're okay. Just to be safe, if you want to play with it, the aerobrake maneuver is usually safe. Or the atmosphere starts at 70 kilometers, or 70,000 meters on your altimeter. For testing purposes, I would take it down to, say, like 60, maybe 50, 45 at most. Obviously, you can see anything below 30 is very, very detrimental to your spaceship. Or, actually, very good. If you have enough fuel to pull it off, you can aerobrake. But if you're aerobraking to land, you might as well just put your orbit down to the floor of the planet, rather than aerobraking into it. But you know, if you do aerobraking right, it's a free slowdown. It is also a free Hohmann transfer if you do it right. Hohmann transfer, if you look it up on Wikipedia, there's pictures of what it basically is. It's just extending your orbit to a certain point, wrapping around the other side, and then circularizing there. That's a Hohmann transfer. Walter Hohmann, German. And a lot of people on the forums use that term, so if you're confused when you see that, that's what it means. That's just the type of transfer that is. All it means is you're transferring into a different orbit. That's all it is. So we've gone to the moon, we've talked about orbital maneuvers, stuff like that. Now we're coming back down to Kerbal here, and you can see this on doing its work. This radar altimeter here, you can actually land without even seeing the planet, but you got to also pay attention to your surface speed. If that drops too much, you'll start to go up, and that's always a bad thing. And I don't trust myself inside this thing. A lot of people do like to land inside the ship, though, since the radar altimeter is very accurate. Ooh, look at that! We lived. Thing is, if we EVA here, we can't get back in because the jetpacks are basically RCS powered, and they're not powerful enough to lift on the planet. So we've gone to space, orbited Kerbal. We've discussed the birth effect, we've discussed the Hohmann transfer, we've discussed eccentricity, circularization. Parking orbit is one I think I skipped. Basically, parking orbit is your final orbit around the planet before you make your transfer. Pretty simple. It's where you park your ship, basically. But you're always moving, since you're in orbit, obviously. Talked about proper staging and separations. Gravity turns. Prograde and retrograde orbit, by the way, is opposite of what I did. We went 90 degrees, which is a prograde orbit. It follows the planet's circular prograde around the sun. It's a little easier to get into because that's also the rotation. I can't talk right now. What is wrong with me? It's the direction that the planet rotates. And getting into an orbit at that rotation is easier than a retrograde orbit, which is the other way, because you're working against the planet's spin. And that's harder to do because you're already starting out on a prograde orbit because of the way the planet's spinning. So that pulls you in that 90-degree direction. And going on that 90-degree mark on your nav ball there puts you on the equator, and if you can keep on that 90, you'll have a perfectly equatorial orbit, which is, obviously, you can see right there. We're on the equator right now. Or, no, we're not. Wait. Yeah, we are. Look at that. That's pretty nifty. Huh. We landed directly on the equator. Oh, nope. Never mind. No, we didn't. I am wrong. Disregard everything I just said. Oh. Maybe I'm right. Never mind. I might have been looking at the wrong continent. Yeah, we are on the equator. Wow! I'm pretty surprised right now, because these all have equatorial orbits, and we're right underneath them. And you can obviously, you saw the moon go straight down right over my head, so that's also on an equatorial orbit around the planet. There's zero inclination on it. So if you have a zero inclination orbit around Kerbal, you can pretty easily transfer to the moon. Wow, I didn't expect the landing to be that accurate in terms of. Oh, look at that! Look at that! That is something else right there. Well, let's wait for it to fly over again. That is a piece of space debris. That's it might have gone out of view. Might have raised too much. Oh, there it is. That's a piece of space debris. That is a garbage satellite flying overhead, 65 kilometers up. It's gaining slight aero brake, but its velocity is way too high to actually slow it down enough. These things have been circling the planet for I think 9 years now on this game save, and there's several of them because this is the bug that I was discussing earlier, where they'll go in and out of very high warp speed or time warp, and you. Oh wait, this is my Expedition 4. That's not even that. That's what that is. That's the very high warp speed bug. You go in and you come back out, and random pieces of your ship have just been torn apart. This is all just garbage that was all jettisoned at one time, and over the path of 9 game years, just kind of gained a little bit of eccentricity in random places, I suppose, and got away from each other because that's just what happens. So, but what is that? Oh, look at that! This is the plane I made earlier, the A1 reactor. I named it that because it reacts very well to input. It's very maneuverable, and it's very stable. I love it. It's my first great plane. So here's KSP right over here, and you can see on the map the KSC, the Kerbal Space Center. You can actually see on the map the launch thingamajigs and some spaceplane trash. Those struts that we used for launch control, so I didn't tip around while I was on the run on the pad. And yeah, let's go look at this guy real quick. This is one of my favorite planes. I'll be covering planes in a later video, but not right now. I just made this one today, actually. It's very bland and simple looking. Now it's underground. There it is. There it is. It's very, very not original. Looks like a normal plane. There's some holes in the wings right here because it's made out of wings. But it's very nice. It flies pretty well, and apparently it has full fuel, which I don't believe for a second. 16.6 liters on that one. That's all it has left. Actually made it all the way from KSC to here. It's pretty efficient. It's only got one engine, so it doesn't use too much fuel at once. And it flies very well. And actually, while I was putting this together, I discovered a bug, which I reported to the forums. And I also discovered something everyone might want to know. These control surfaces are flat on one side, so if you're trying to make a rudder, a tail rudder like this, you have to put 2 of them on. It seems kind of weird. It seems like it shouldn't work, but it has to work because they're flat on one side, so your center of lift will actually be cocked very slightly to the side. and you'll roll or drift in that direction, and it's really annoying. You can see these holes right here. These even make shadows. I need to fix that. But yeah, you have to put 2 of these on your tail rudder because they're not symmetrical. So be aware of that. But they do work. See, this is engine gimbaling. That's rolling. But yeah, that's also pretty useful because that can steer you pretty well. Yeah, you can see that there's 2 of them. You see it flashing, and there's a little tongue in between them. But you can see these are round on one side and flat on the other, and they're not completely symmetrical, so it will offset your symmetry on your space planes, and it will send your thrust, your center of lift, that is, into a slightly skewed angle that will mess up your flight. So we've got this guy here on the other side of the planet, perfectly on the equator, nice and warm, or nice and cold at night if you want. That took some time. Wow, look at this strange glitch. That was cool. And we're just gonna sit here and enjoy the sunset, and that's the end of this tutorial. I'll be making another one pretty shortly here. And thanks for watching. Tell your friends that play KSP if they need help. I'm here to help. If you have any questions, post them in the comments, or find me on the forums, send me a private message. You can find my Skype name on the forums as well. I will answer messages in Skype. When you send me a contact request, please tell me who you are and where you're from, otherwise I probably won't. I'll probably ignore it. So I'll be making another video pretty shortly here for interplanetary transfers. Again, if there's any more information you need about what I covered today, or anything that I missed that seems basic to you but not to me, please tell me, and I will cover it in future videos, or make a post about it or something. I hope this helped you. I hope it helps you get to the moon, because I know there's still a lot of people out there that are just finding the game, or have had it for a while and just haven't gotten into it, that are still trying to get to the moon. I haven't figured it out yet. It took me a long time. It took me about a week to actually get into this game. I was very frustrated when I started, so if you're frustrated, I know how you feel. It's worth it, if you ask me. I'm a huge astronomy nerd, so I love this game. It's amazing. Even in this early alpha stage, this game is incredible, and I'm very glad that my friend who's obsessed with robots found it. Oh look, the sun just disappeared out of nowhere. So there's your sunset and some information about the game. Can't stress it enough. Please report any bugs you find in your flights. Tell your friends about the channel. Tell your friends about the forums. Have them sign up for a forum account. It's a pretty engaging place. Has a lot of information, a lot of nice people, a lot of really friendly moderators. It's an indie developer. They're independent. They're not licensed by a big company like EA or anything. So they are very friendly, they are very responsive, they will reply directly to your bug report threads. They will reply directly to you. They have replied to me before, and you don't know what that feels like, or you do. I'm going to give them a nice little shout out real quick here. Thank you, C7, and all the rest of the developers on the team. Thank you, Squad. This is an amazing game, and you guys are an amazing team. And I hope you appreciate my tutorials, because I appreciate the game, and I like to help those who are willing to learn.